Welcome in on our second edition of the Sam Adams Show. We're here in Coach's office because it is raining galore outside today. So we would normally do this at Kia of Anniston, Oxford. But today we're in Coach's office where it's a nice, cozy, I'd say 71-ish degrees.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere in that ballpark. Coach, last week didn't go as you wanted it to, but I'm sure you learned a lot from that game. You guys ended up losing, I believe, 35-21 to a very, very tough team. Take us back to last Friday and how that all transpired when you played McAdory.
Yeah, so we knew going in McAdory was going to have a really good team, a lot of weapons on offense, very veteran offensive line, quarterbacks, running backs, receivers. I mean, they were going to put us in some tough matchup situations, and unfortunately, they jumped on us pretty quickly. We gave them 2 short fields early in the game. Had a couple special teams penalties that gave them even better field position they would have had otherwise. The kids did fight back. We had put together a really good drive when we were down 14-0 to get back in the game. And then we forced 2 turnovers in the second quarter when it was raining sideways out there. And unfortunately, we couldn't come away with points on either one of those. And that was really the big difference in the game. They made the most of the opportunities they got in the first quarter. We had a couple opportunities in the second and weren't able to capitalize on them. And we could never really get within that one score kind of range. We kind of went back and forth after the second quarter.
Now, you said on the show last week, these guys are going to be very hard to prepare for. Mm-hmm. Did they have any special wrinkles or anything they threw at you that you guys probably hadn't seen from them?
Not really. They, everything that they did, we at least repped in practice. But defensively, it's a fine line walking there, fitting the run between brute force and also understanding your leverage and fitting the proper gap. So,
exactly.
We missed a couple gaps in there, misfit a couple things, and combined that with a couple missed tackles. And they had good enough athletes that if you weren't exactly where you're supposed to be and you weren't sure on your tackles, then they were going to be able to make you pay for it.
They definitely make you pay for it, and with the quickness. Some of these teams, athletes like that. Mm-hmm. Now, Coach, talk about the benefit, though. Although it was a loss, playing somebody like that, where you can get those looks and you can find out some of your problems and some of the things you guys need to work on, especially early in the year like this.
Yeah, it was a playoff type game. McAdory will be in the hunt for region championship over in that West Birmingham and Tuscaloosa kind of region. So it was good to see those kinds of players. And also be in the environment like we were in with, we had the weather issue come up. So it's good to kind of get that experience under your belt. So you know what it's like to play with a wet ball.
That's right.
That definitely played a part in the game for both teams. I think it showed some of our guys that had a lot of success the week before that, if you're not really buckled down every single rep of the game and you're not exactly doing your job as it's supposed to be done, that you can be exposed pretty quickly. So that was a good experience for us all around.
That's good. Now, Coach, it doesn't get any easier. You're playing a 7A opponent that's a very, very good athletic team in a very tough region up in the Huntsville area, Huntsville High School. People definitely know who that is, and obviously tremendous athletes, great coaches. Talk about the challenges you have this week coming in.
Yeah, it's going to be a really tough game.
On the road again.
They're on the road, yeah. We'll be going back up and playing at Milton Frank Stadium, which will be a nice venue. I've never coached there, and our players, most of our guys have never been there, I'm assuming. So it'll be good to get them in somewhere new and see how they respond there. But Huntsville's a very tricky opponent because a lot of people will kind of look at last year's record for them and see that they were 3-7 and kind of make a set of assumptions that are not going to be true at all. While they were 3-7 and fell short of the playoffs, they went toe-to-toe with the 1, 2, and 3 seed in that region and lost all 3 of those by less than a field goal. So they could have been the 2 seed in the region. And they played a lot of young guys last year. So they're better versions of themselves than they were last year, and they were in the hunt for a lot of football games last season. So it'll be a tough one for us for sure.
Now, after you've sat down and watched film, and you know what you've gotten, off last week's game, what are some of the key things, takeaways that you see that, hey, man, we really did execute this really well heading into this week? And then what are some of those things you're like, hey, we've got to dial in on this?
Well, defensively, it's just making sure we make the tackles that we need to make and fit the gaps that we need to fit in the run game. And offensively, it's really just a situation of being able to capitalize on the opportunities that were there. On the goal line, we got stopped inside the one time because we missed one little call up front that would have been easy to pick up had we been focused and had our eyes in the right spot. We dropped a couple of balls that would have been explosive plays, and I mean altogether we feel like we left at a minimum 17 points on the field. And you can't, if you're playing a good team, you can't afford to do that. More than all those things, more than the football technique part of it, is just responding the right way immediately. Because the previous week at James Clemens, we got up 14-0 pretty quick, and it's pretty easy to play when you're up 14-0. Yeah, that sideline's all happy. Yeah, they're all juiced up and ready to go. And it was the opposite situation this week. We were down 14-0 just a few minutes into the game, and I think some of our less experienced guys were shocked a little bit. So we just got to understand that we're going to be in a lot of tight games, and our margin for error is not going to be very great. So if we play well, we'll have a chance to win a whole bunch of them, and we will do that. But we just got to understand if there's times in the game when we're not playing our best, we got to respond immediately and get back in the game.
People's got to realize you still have a very young team yourself.
Yeah,
so momentum's everything.
Sure.
And psychologically, you got to keep these guys dialed in.
Yeah, we still played. I believe it was 13 freshmen or sophomores in the varsity game.
That's unheard of.
So we've got some of those guys got some experience last year, but there's a difference when you have a 18-year-old offensive tackle blocking a 14
maybe 15.
Yeah,
neither one of them can drive.
Right. Yeah. So it's a different. I mean, it's a little different animal,
Oh, yeah.
And so the mental game of it is what we got to come along furthest on. I mean, I think physically we got guys that can do all the things we need them to do. Sure. We just got to figure out how to compete every snap.
Now, here's a question I got for you personally, and every coach is different in this. When you have a long road trip like this one coming up, it's going to be a bit longer. What does the school day look like on Friday?
So we try to keep it as normal as we can. The difference will be we'll have a pep rally in the morning this time. That'll be my first time having a morning pep rally in my career. But
you're still gonna have coffee in your hand?
Oh yeah, I will. And then we'll leave school at 2:30, and we'll get on the charter bus and go. We always try to get where we're going at about 5 o'clock. So it's about a 2.5 hour ride. The good thing is we made a very similar trip just 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
We did that one on the cheese wagons. This time we're charter busing, so it'll be
it'll
be a little more luxurious setting.
This one means a little bit more than the one 2 weeks ago.
It definitely does. It definitely does.
Yeah, it's time to dial it in. Coach, just some final thoughts on this week's preparation leading up to this big game with Huntsville.
Yeah, I think our guys were, they obviously disappointed with the way it turned out on Friday, but when they came up here on Sunday and we reviewed everything and just pointed out to them that all of the mistakes that we made were very easily correctable, and we just got to maintain our focus throughout the game so that we played better in those situations that can swing the game. And this game against Huntsville will be very similar to the McAdor one in that there'll probably be 5 plays that'll decide the game, and whichever team makes the most of those is probably going to be who wins the game.
No doubt. Well, Coach, good luck to you, and go Big O. And
go Big O.
See you next Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you.